Hi, I'm Dylan Gott, and welcome to John and Dylan Online, a show where two comedians do half-assed research into internet history. Joining me is my co-host, John Hastings, at the John Hastings on all social media, and he'll be introducing the subject for this show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you make those jeans tight and order yourself a latte, not flat white, hasn't been introduced yet, because, my friends, we're headed back to the hippest of the years. It's 2012. Oh my God. What happened to this social scene? It seems broken.
John,
We're talking
John,
about Kony 2012. We're talking about Kony
we are in our
2012.
athletic primes during this time. We are 27 years old. That's where mind and body meet at a fantastic point in your life. John, what was your 40 time? How much did you bench? How was your time being an athlete in 2012 at 27?
I benched 350. I had a big dick. I was real
Whoa.
cool. Oh,
Wait, your dick
yeah.
got smaller?
Certainly did. It's a weird
Oh yeah,
byproduct of
weight
moving to
gain.
England. That's right. I most people gain weight all over their body. I gain it in my shaft stump.
It's just the fat covers it.
Yeah, exactly. I call it my insurmountable mountain. You're gonna have to climb the hill, gal. That's what I always say to a gal.
But
Hey,
he's
gal,
always
time to climb
crying.
the hill.
I
Oh, I'm
don't want
crying
to
always.
climb
I don't, but
it.
this has nothing to do with sexual anxiety. It's actually mostly intimacy. Don't climb it, but climb me. Climb me. The year is 2012. I'm preparing to move to the United Kingdom to pursue my dreams of stand-up comedy. Dylan is living in a second floor apartment that felt like a basement. His girlfriend is months away from witnessing his roommate at the time having sex with a lady on the sofa.
Oh yeah.
2012 was a big year, and it was punctuated by the fastest video on YouTube getting to 100 million big VIEWSs, courtesy of a man named Stupid. Oh my God, is it Jason or Justin Roberts? It just fucking fell out of
Jason
my brain.
Russell.
It's Jason fucking Russell of Imagine Children. And Jason Russell, I know so many people like this because I worked at a Christian camp and went to theater school. And this
Yes.
motherfucker grew up in a Christian theater company. This guy has had so much sex while claiming to be a virgin. This guy is so good at lying at himself and everyone else. This guy sucks. I so forgot about him in the Kony 2012 saga. I thought the internet
He
drove
is the
him
saga
crazy. I know he is the saga,
because he's
but
the
the fact,
perfect, most hateable person in the history of the internet,
oh
which
my God,
is
there's so
Christian theater, rich kid, also handsome. Like you hadn't
it's got
had
every.
anyone.
Let's go. No, no, no. 1 second. Let's just run through the list. Christian theater, rich kid, California, ponytail, handsome, internet, embezzles money. That is everything the internet wants to talk about in
Mhm.
one cunt. They did it. We fucking did it. 2012 rocks.
And the best type of true crime where there's no grisly murders. I
That's
love
right. It's
me a scandal.
isn't it? It's
When the lady from
everything.
Full House fucking bought her kid into that school, that's what
Let
I
me ask
like.
let me ask you a question, Dylan. Guess who else
Mhm.
went to USC?
Jason fucking Russell.
Yes, he certainly did. He went to film school at USC. If you go to film school at USC and you're listening to this, I just want to let you know you are a fucking weird rich kid. Because why wouldn't you go to
Yeah,
UCLA? You go to UCLA Film School where all the amazing directors went. You don't go to USC where the famous murderers and criminals went.
oh, you mean OJ? He's
OJ.
also an
I also
actor. Put some
not
respect on
anymore.
OJ's name.
You're right. I'm sorry. And you know what? He didn't see that Murdoch. He didn't think Alex Murdoch he thought Alex Murdoch was guilty before a lot of people. Give that to OJ.
Who's Alex Murdoch?
He was that ginger gentleman who murdered his wife and son. OJ OJ
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out and was
I
it
could
was like
see OJ knowing what that looks like.
yeah, it was pretty crazy that OJ decided to weigh in on something like that. I got to tell you, it was like, all right, man. Well, I guess this is the reality we all live in. Like, whatever. Like,
That's
fuck
like what
me.
someone what was it with like my wife's friend is like he's just at home all day smoking weed and playing video games, and I was like he's not smoking weed, he's just in it for the games, baby. He doesn't want to dull
Yeah,
his senses when he's
that's the
fucking
thing. That's
becoming
the
a
thing. Also,
paladin.
That's the other thing. You really tell someone's age when they refer to anyone who's just on a computer a lot as a nerd. It's like,
Yes.
no, man, that's just a person who's under 30.
That's us.
Like, what do you?
We're the last of the dying breed where it's like my wife and her friends are just like old school 90s bullies where they're like, look at this fucking nerd. I'm like, that's just what life is now.
Yeah, it's just life now. Yeah. Like, what are they fucking doing? You know the things you say out loud to your friends? They're emailing that to each other.
Yeah,
It's
they're
the
just
only
texting.
difference.
I don't know if I've even said this before, but like doing comedy now is crazy because it's just like 23-year-olds texting each other versus when we started where it was like, oh, there's a group of 23-year-olds. That's why they all have knives out. One's for
Exactly.
cocaine, one's for threatening.
Yep. And by the way, oh, what do you mean? They can have the same, they can be doing two things at once.
They multitask.
Come on, these are knives. These are knives and 23-year-olds. The other thing that is different about stand-up comedy then to now is there is so much less overt bullying and so much more covert bullying. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a generational thing where it's like,
Oh
yeah, I
boy.
mean, people, were there more or less suicides now? We'll do an episode on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
John and
Because we
Dylan
need to bring
online.
up,
We'll solve suicide rates.
speaking of suicide rates, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very depressing episode. So we have a fun new bit for the program. Guys, we're trying out bits. The bit is this. When it gets too depressing, Dylan and I will watch an old commercial and react. The reason why is your boy, your USC's favorite son, Jason Ramblat, Lord
Russell.
William Shakespeare of Jesus Christ. That's right. Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jake the Snake, Justin,
Jason
Jake the Snake,
Roberts.
That's right. There we fucking got it. Yeah, you
All right, so
get
let's simplify this because there's been a lot said about Kony 2012. When you Google Kony 2012, there's like honestly a 17,000 recap podcast. So let's get to the bottom of what it is. Here's what
great.
Kony 2012
I want to get to
was.
the breakdown as fast as possible. Go ahead, Dylan. Break it down for me. Tell me. Come on, hit me.
Jason Russell went after a misunderstood leader in Joseph Kony, and frankly, you can donate to this show, and we will give it directly to Joseph Kony. That's simply what it. That's Joseph Kony. Joseph Kony is a man who ran
heel turn. We are bad guys now. Surprise! Right, fucking podcast.
Fund child militias.
Yeah, surprise. Join our Patreon. It somehow
we are literally the worst people you could imagine.
Yeah. Do you know the characters portrayed by Danny DeVito and Charlie Day on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? We inspired them.
Yeah. We're John Wayne Gacy, but like with a budget.
Yeah, we're John Wayne, and everyone's alive, so they can still hear me.
Oh God. So Joseph Kony, this is the thing I have a problem with. All right, so here's simply what it is. Invisible Children was a charity where they would just basically make movies. Jason Russell went to film school at USC, and here was everyone's major problem with it is they were going school to school, like basically doing assemblies, taking donations, and rather than giving that money to children or ex-child soldiers in Uganda, they were using 89% of their money to raise awareness, which just basically meant they get to go chill all over the states doing more assemblies. So they do that. They basically, like, in a way that people didn't do back then, made a movie called Kony 2012, where it promised on April 20th they were going to paint the town and advertise all over town, but really it was a movie. They'd done tons of these movies before on their YouTube channel, Invisible Children, and this one just popped. It was basically like a lot of creators. You have one video that just pops, and this one popped. 100 million views in like 3 days. Oprah got on it, which is huge. If Oprah can get on it, literally Oprah's army will just fucking shoot this shit to the top.
It is so crazy how the internet hasn't really changed. I recently had an Instagram reel go wild, and it's all because a football player put it in his story, and then another football player put it in his story, and then that's just enough that it suddenly has a life of its own. Yeah. So imagine if that's on the scale of Oprah, and especially this is Oprah not Oprah 2023 when this is being recorded. This is Oprah 2012. So she's not at the height of her powers, but like her show has only been off the air for 4 years and she's still so much more of a presence. Like she still essentially is the person that made Barack Obama. And like that has not been forgotten in the way it sort of has been now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Oprah is like, people didn't like Oprah, but then as soon as Oprah stopped, like Alex Jones came in her place. So everyone was like, well, we should have been a lot more thankful for Oprah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it turned out we just like having cars underneath our seats and not a book that says, actually, I took a shit on you. Alex Jones.
Oprah did do weird things where one time.
So yeah.
Deborah Wilson, the one that specifically sticks out is Deborah Wilson from Mad TV did an impression of Oprah. Like just basically making fun of the audience about how devoted they are to Oprah. And then Deborah Wilson apologized to Oprah, and Oprah wasn't like, that's not necessary. She went, thank you, I've been wanting that for a long time. Yeah. Which is like, how dare you impersonate and mock me? But anyway, Oprah gets on it. Kony 2012 happens. It's fucking huge, and people want to tear it down immediately.
So something that also needs to be talked about in the zeitgeist is this was a thing that people started to really be aware about with charities and became a big sticking point with a lot of people, is that there were a shitload of charities that were all raising awareness. So this was already a thing that was sort of in the stew, in the culture, and in the internet. And then this sort of video happened for an organization that's very much based around raising awareness. And what they really were some fucking idiots who had done one missionary trip in Uganda, and they just didn't do any research from a missionary trip in 2004 up until when they make this video in 2011, 2012. And it then just goes absolutely fucking wild. And the internet basically loves them for 50 hours and then starts discovering stuff. And then holy shit.
Well, you remember around this time, or at least I do, where it's like everyone had a Kony 2012 thing on their Facebook profile or whatever social media account you preferred at the time. It was Facebook. The whole movie, the call to action was bring this man to justice. We need to get this man out of Uganda. And of course, he was no longer in Uganda. He hadn't been in Uganda. His army had been repelled. His army of. Here's the other thing. Here's what Joseph Kony did. John, get a commercial ready.
You have to share screen because you're recording it.
Oh, yeah. I have to share screen.
So Joseph Kony, essentially what happened. You
explain what Joseph Kony was, and I'm going to get a fun old commercial up.
Essentially, Joseph Kony is part of a rebel militia called the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army. As a recruitment measure, what they would do is he would go into a village and kidnap the local boys and to imbue them into his militia so they could never, ever, ever return to their families. He would have them shoot their parents. And if they were boys, they would go into the militia. And if they were girls, they would become sex slaves and sex trafficked. And life is a fucking nightmare. People like Jason Russell discovered this when they were doing missionary work and saw that boys from all the villages would walk to the closest town and sleep under the streetlights every night, which was the only way to avoid being kidnapped by the LRA at the time. There's a scene in Kony 2012 where he makes a pledge to a boy, which is the inspiration for this video. Joseph Kony is a decisively bad fucking human being. He is evil fucking incarnate. And he should be rid. He is cartoonishly evil. He should be rid from this earth. The reason why the flippancy in our voice pertains only to the fucking Imagine Children bullshit, raising awareness, and none of this money went to making sure that Joseph Kony went to jail or anyone like Joseph Kony could be prevented from rising up again. Instead, the money just fucking disappeared because once again, another fucking millennial used the internet to fucking grift from everyone because that's now just what we do with the fucking internet. I remember when it was fun, where it was a fun place for message boards and you call each other fucking crazy names and see weird video game clips. And now what it is it's just a carnival of different cons. Can we go back to the Silk Road? I know it was really bad when we were all on MDMA, but it was way more fucking fun. Now, please, I need a commercial to soothe my spirit.
Here's
Dylan,
what I want to say before the
fired
commercial.
Up.
Whether Jason Russell and this guy this is the thing I didn't like about the Kony 2012 discourse was everyone was simplifying it. Joseph Kony had an army of 100 children that he molested and then made kill their parents.
Oh, it's fucking
Now here's a fun old
horrific.
commercial.
Saxophone's already fucking soothed me, I gotta tell
The
you.
Jag won't be in till Monday, sorry.
John, Steve, looks like your boat needs a brand new keel.
Derek here. Sorry, but I can't make our squash game. Later.
There's one indulgence that never lets you down. Score.
Pause.
Rich
Pause
meat
this
chocolate.
fucking video now.
Isn't that
For those of you listening, listening to this podcast,
horny?
that was the horniest video for a Scores bar I've ever seen. This man is about to fuck a Scores bar, the least delicious chocolate you've ever seen. The way he was holding it is the way that when a man in a pornography film has a really big old juicy dick, is how he held that Scores bar. Good gravy, Miss fucking Maisie.
With a
What is going on?
John, darling, it's
baby.
Angela. Dinner's off. Derek invited me to play squash.
Score. Indulgence you can trust.
Oh my God, his date's canceled and he's
Favorite
excited
thing.
because he's gonna fuck that chocolate bar. Also, can I just say this?
You know,
Do
do you know what the basically the storyline of the commercial was there? His buddy
He's-
Derek called and was like,
Yeah.
I can't make it tonight. Squash is off. And then his girlfriend was like, hey, I'm gonna fuck Derek. And he was like, who gives a shit? I'm gonna stick the score bar right in my fucking cornhole.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm sleeping with Derek. Yeah, I've been fucking your candy bars, Marjorie.
Oh yeah?
you
Well, I nutted all over your fucking score bars, you thirsty bitch. That's
Imagine that divorce proceedings. And when would you say the marriage broke down? I think it's probably when he nutted on my Scores bar. Oh, is that when it fucking broke down, Marjorie? Or is it when you were fucking Derek, you fuck? And then they just fight each other. Well, that saxophone music plays. My headphones fell comedically off my head.
So, score bar aside, Joseph Kony is on the loose still. People are simplifying. This is what I hated about it. People were fucking simplifying it. Like Joseph Kony wasn't like if this existed in imagine like everyone's like, yeah. He's just a warlord with hundreds of children he molests and makes murder people, which that does that happens in certain parts of Africa that are super fucked up, but everyone's just simplifying it like, yeah, and Joseph Kony actually is like, you know how the internet is. Everything has to be black and white. It can't be.
It so quickly became this horrific monster. Jason Russell picked on this poor child soldier, have her, Joseph Kony, was sort of the tone of the discourse. Like it was like this mean Christian with a video camera once again was rude to everyone's favorite murderer of parents via their own children, Joey Kony yourself. Like, it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Can a shithead be responsible for exposing the sins of a true Satan?
It is insane that a person got to that level of fame in Jason Russell via school assemblies.
Well, it was that. It was also, I think, it's something to be said of in that time period, YouTube was becoming more and more ingrained in our life. And it was some video was going to catch fire in the way that this did. So it's sort of hard to tell. Do you know what I'm saying? Was he actually that famous before this video? Or was he just had enough of the groundswell because of going to the school? So it was mostly people that were using YouTube at the time. So they'd be looking at the video. So whatever was their algorithm and all these words that we didn't use back then, but now fucking I get to say many times a day, then picked it up and it just went. We won't know. I don't know, really talking about his fame pre the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was just sort of an anomaly. Like, it's the same way that Justin Bieber just appeared and was famous one day.
Yeah, Justin Bieber was on, I think he was a daytime talk show that broke him as well, but
it was a relief concert for Haiti. Is the weird thing is that was where he went from, like, he was a YouTube star and he had a record coming out and then it just went like go 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 boom.
Yeah, he was a YouTube star too, but the Invisible Children had like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and if you watch the actual Kony 2012 documentary, it starts off with him telling his kid about Joseph Kony. So it's immediately really affecting. And he talks about the world, and then he starts talking about Joseph Kony, and it does a really good job of explaining what Joseph Kony does without going into great crazy detail like a lot of those documentaries do, where they're like, okay, well, now we're gonna like go basically softly show what this guy does, and it more focuses on Jacob, who was an ex-child soldier who Kony murdered his brother, and how he's like helped Jacob rehabilitate, and now Jacob speaks with them. So it gives like, here's the problem, here's how we've already sort of helped, here's what you can do. And what they could do is, and a lot of what people are upset about is the framing of it. They said you can donate and you will receive an action kit. And the action kit was for $420, which is so funny that a Christian would be like, here's what everyone wants to do on the day where everyone wakes up, smokes weed until they go to bed. Activities.
They want to make sure that they have a lot of activities ready to go. You're so correct. It was, again, this raise awareness bullshit. This was the same thing they were giving out at assemblies, were these action kits. But this is the other thing that's sort of not played in the grift is they're fucking weird Christians that go around to all these things. That's how all those organizations work, is they're all this fake weird donation system of, you receive this trinket, you get that trinket. Like, I worked at a Christian camp and ended up with so many extra t-shirts. Like, it's like a weird exchange thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is the other thing. How do those missionaries work? Like, because that was a lot of the anger at, like, obviously once she died, Mother Teresa was like, hey, do you like going into places with crazy poverty and without clean water and be like, hey, if you want this water, you have to like accept Jesus Christ into your heart.
Yeah. So that's exactly, so it's just different missionary trips are predicated on that. So a lot of aid is coming from Christian organizations, and it predicates on, well, we also get to talk about Christianity to all of these people. And there's continual exposures of horrific things going on within the missionary world. Like the Baptist missionary program turns out was basically like a international like groper ring that dabbled in some occasional missionary work in South America. Like, it's a horror show every time. There's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, anytime an adult's like, I just want to be around some kids alone, it's probably, I mean, I'd say,
yeah, let's go to, what do you mean there's no cameras in Uganda? Let's go there with some kids. Oh, okay. Fuck me, Dad. Fuck me, fuck you, fuck.
But that's how Jason Russell started. Him and his friends just wanted to go to Africa to do missionary work, and then they found out it is like, oh no, this guy has child soldiers. We should help the child soldiers. And part of it's like, yeah, good, great job.
Mm-hmm.
But then,
are you doing that? No, like, that's the thing where it's like, all right, like, it's like, you're exactly right. It's like, we got to help these child soldiers. You're right. All right, so this action pack, this is helping the child soldiers. Yeah, and it's like, what they're thinking.
Well, now people know about the child soldiers. Yeah, which I get it, because like, you want it to be. This is the advocate part.
How dare you? How dare you? This was the time.
You want it to be people
to travel. Everyone knew about the kids soldiers. They could fuck off with it. They were raising. Everyone was aware. Do you know how many women with short hair I tried to fuck in the 2010s, Dylan? I knew about fucking child soldiers before Kony 2012. He can stick his action pack in his asshole. Like, come the fuck on.
And a lot of what made people upset about this was, baby, once again, me and John are in our athletic prime. Our tendons are tight. Our minds are sharp. And everyone is starting to jump on millennials for avocados and the slacktivism. 1 like equals 1 child saved. That whole thing. Liking a post or retweeting like a missing person on your Twitter is better than doing fucking nothing. Like, that is true.
Yeah, you're right. But the way this was presented was, give us money and we will give it to the hunt to find this man. And instead they got $8 million put towards future films. And then they, I think, took some money and put it in the literal ocean and went, maybe it'll float to Uganda.
Well, no, it's like, yeah, it is good if we get some money to Uganda, but mostly I want to be on a jet. Like that was the criticism. But once again, like that's probably like a rich kid thing where it's like, well,
It's
of
also like
course,
this is
like
gonna sound crazy, but like in the Christian world, especially like look at how much money and what those fucking like ministers fucking spend their money on. It's this weird thing of everything is a company, everything is a business opportunity in America. So if you grow up inside a giant lucrative Christian theater company, do you know how unprofitable a theater company is? And then you're narrowing your market to Christian. Do you know how good at getting people's money you have to be to make that and be a rich kid as a result? So that's all this, like, I'm not justifying it, but this was his logic. In his world, I think that this kind of fundraising takes place all the time, and they just got a super steroided version of it. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Maybe I think what you're saying, it's like he grew up in a grift and this is the best the grift has ever worked, and then the world got to understand the grift.
I'm going to say this right now. I think he is a bad guy, and I think he's a grifting piece of shit, but I'm explaining that he is a product of his environment as well. To restate, Jason Jackoff, Russell Bustle, piece of shit grifter, fuck you in your fucking face. Go fuck yourself, theater kid. I totally get his logic. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, here to break that up about like, oh yeah, and then he grifted a bunch of fucking children out of their innocence again or whatever. Innocence again, Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, he grifted some people that were that live in what I would consider actual hell. Here is the 80s Sugar Crisp commercial. I always remembered these from when I was a kid. Watching
these are
it's fun.
quick thing before we watch this. I just want to say this about the Sugar Crisp cereal. One of the worst things I've ever eaten. Actively remember it being
Really?
bad, but the commercials, yeah, not good. I got to tell you,
80s do you remember the 80s Sugar Crisp commercials?
I absolutely do. I'm jacked for this. I got to tell you,
Okay.
I hate this entire story because Joseph Kony is the devil on earth and Jason Russell is just a piece of shit. But luckily, we get to talk about him jacking off in the street after this commercial, and then things will be right in the world. Go ahead, Dylan. Hit me, baby, one more time.
My Super Golden Crisp cereal with 8 vitamins makes this nutritious breakfast.
Oh my God!
I just love that sweet, crispy wheat.
Whoa, ho, ho, ho. What's up, Croc?
Don't be bashful with that box in there. Put the pole in the bowl.
Time for a vitamin pack punch. In case he bit off more than he could chew. I can't get enough of Super Golden Crisp. It's got the crunch with punch.
Yeah.
So
the jingle at the end, I can't get enough of that golden crisp, has been in my head since I was 4 years old. Second of all, no animal has been undersold more than the alligator or crocodile. Every cartoon depicts them as like a fun rascal you could just beat up. And then they are like a log that wants to murder you with a chainsaw for a mouth.
well, also cereals aren't sold by like, yeah, and then our mascot kicked the fucking shit out of somebody anymore.
Well, yeah, that's because our generation killed cereals. Our generation doesn't eat cereal.
No, but kids still do.
Yeah, but not. It's still not at the same level, and like it's like the industry has shrunk drastically, and it's also there's a bunch of like nutritional laws because there's a shitload of sugar in all those cereals, so they can't use sweet ass cartoons to advertise them anymore because children want to have futures. Pussies.
Still, buddy, Toucan Sam isn't like, yo, fucking eat these Fruit Loops. Watch me knock the shit out of this buffalo.
I fucking wish he was. Hey man, you want some fucking cereal? No. I will fucking cut you, you fucking cunt.
that is the right wing America. That's if Fox News just takes over America. It'll be a bunch of fucking
that cereal
Sugar
commercial will be
Crisp
so good.
like beating the shit out of some other animals.
Hi, would you like some Fruit Loops, you motherless fuck? No? Fuck you, Fox News. Fox News Flakes.
Oh, that Fox News Flakes is good. All right. So Kony 2012 is huge. People are starting to hate on Jason Russell.
Oh, okay. Do you
Another
remember the
thing
hate
that happens-
starting? Do you remember the hate starting? I remember it turned so quickly because I remember talking to someone that was like, we got to do something about this. I'm going to donate money. A real mimbo that Dylan and I both know. And I remember being like, this is gonna be so bad. And I remember I walked upstairs. We were smoking outside. I walked upstairs and I picked up my, at the time, new iPhone. I had just gotten one and it had started and it was like, question on Gawker, questions raised about Kony 2012. And then it was like, woo! Oh God, do I miss Gawker? Dylan, do you miss Gawker?
Oh yes. Just when
Oh, the
one
best.
place was shitty instead of like every place.
It was great. Gawker, someone described smoking heroin as it took all of your problems and made it one little ball. And that's what Gawker did with the internet. Just being like, check out this fucking shit, bro.
But everyone was pumped, like, what do you call that again? Contrarianism. Everyone was a contrarian. It still
Oh,
is,
yeah.
but like this was like the start of it. So everyone
This was
wanted to tear away at Kony because it was too like he was too perfect of a person. Like it would be so hard for him to keep that up.
This was the real beginning of the millennials, not the millennial roar, the great millennial actually. That
Yeah.
that is what we brought to the fucking table is, oh my God, there's too many people going, I think you'll find it's there, not there.
You can't say it was a failure because everyone got what they wanted. Jason Russell got a ton of money. There was awareness raised, and obviously, like Uganda was helped a lot more. And
In
more than
terms of
none,
awareness,
Uganda was
okay,
the
more than
loser
none.
here.
Yeah, Uganda, like I don't like what you're saying in that it portrays some positive light on Jason Russell.
Okay.
Uganda won in the way that, like, if someone burns down your house, you get a new house.
I'm just saying, and everyone got to dunk on this dude because what everyone
This
really
is the
wanted.
thing I like. This is the thing that we need to stress. That's the good thing about this, is that Jason Russell was driven mad and then jacked off in the street. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thunderdome. What a wild fucking time. Like, literally, this is the only time when internet bullying was literally like, imagine if this is how we just punished Bernie Madoff. This is what we should have done. This should be used as a punishment for embezzlers. It's the perfect thing that matches the crime. This is what he should have done, is that you just literally, like, Twitter gets activated when if you still over $1 million, we activate Twitter like a machine. Everyone go in there, take your hate out. Here's his address, here's his phone number. Go nuts. That's what we should do.
That's a great idea.
It's so perfect. We would sort out Elon Musk in 45 minutes.
Only turning Twitter on for something that everyone agrees that has to be activated, like a fucking missile.
Yeah, absolutely. Elon Musk and Joe Rogan have to turn 2 keys inside like a shithead steakhouse that doesn't have any sides. It's just meat called gristle.
Just Grizzle Steakhouse. What I'm getting to though, April 20th, the night that Jason Russell talked about in his documentary happens. They have like 50,000 people in a bunch of cities, and I think the max turnout they had was like 17 people just
the media
putting up some posters.
3 people in Los Angeles, just the media in a couple of places. It was a real weird. It was the real opposite of the anonymous protests of Scientology buildings, where like no one thought was going to be there, and then like holy shit, they were there. The exact opposite is Kony 2012. It was like 3 people, and what it was cover the world in Kony 2012 posters that you would get in your action pack, or you could buy, or you could print off to make him famous. And basically, by the time they get to April 20th, the wave had fucking crested. Like, hadn't he already freaked out by April 20th?
I will look up.
We're going to confirm that. We're going to confirm that in the second half. You guys enjoy me and Dylan telling you to where you can find us on social media, and we will talk to you after this B to the R to the E to the A to the K break.
So, John, I am having trouble finding an exact date, but the video goes viral on March 6, 2012, and there's an article about him freaking out on March 16th. So,
yeah.
And over a month later is April 20th. This is the thing. Everyone likes to dunk on the fact that by April 20th, no one cared and no one showed up to these things. if
Like,
they
no
would
one
have just,
cared.
but what really it speaks is if they would have just immediately after the Invisible Children, if Jason Russell just had been like got on a webcam and be like, we're not doing it April 20th, we're doing it tomorrow. The place would
100%.
covered the fucking city.
Yeah, if he had literally done it like, yeah, you're so right.
He was just
This
working
is a
on an
very
old showbiz timeline.
This is also an exactly right. This was so the adjustment period of people slowly social media slowly taking over as advertising, as everything, as the way you find trends. But what was interesting, and it really didn't really sink into people's minds how much social media took over until Trump's election, and then COVID is what is the nail in the coffin, is actually COVID. So it's another 8 years, but this is already the beginning of, you can see, and people learning from this, which is you strike while the iron is hot. Like now you can see like a viral video goes up. It's like, okay, suddenly like you see people take action immediately. Before, like people would wait. Fucking craziness.
Exactly, yeah. And don't worry, Joseph Kony's still alive. He still has his army's down to about 100 kids that he molests and makes kill people. So
It's fucking horrible. He's supposedly somewhere in Darfur, is what they think. Is that last known speculation? The hunt for him has eventually been suspended because he is too old and the LRA is no longer a threat, having been expelled. It is horrific that he will not face justice. Life is hell. Life is fucking hell. That said, what also didn't help the situation was some fucking film student Christian cock taking $8 million and saying he was going to spend it on a film and not giving it to fucking anyone to help any fucking child soldier be rehabilitated or anything else. I understand that Dylan feels that the word of mouth helped in some way, and yes, it did. But what if would have helped more is fucking cash, bro. Cash talks. And Dylan, do you want to know what walks? Bullshit. That's what walks.
Ooh.
You're not the only dad in town.
The
I'm business
Kony
daddy.
2012 and his follow-up Move are still on
Oh, they certainly
YouTube,
are.
and they are completely turned off comments. There's
Oh,
like
that's-
a
I
new
did the-
voice
I-
description of like, hey, maybe you guys think we were bad, but we still did some good stuff. Like it's like very defensive YouTube description.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, hey, just fuck you, actually, though.
Why'd you come here? Make fun of me? Well, not today, fucko.
The other thing I just want to say is this was also the beginning of when this is going to sound so weird, but 2012 is the beginning of when YouTube videos started being long, because there was a long period of time where YouTube videos had to be 10 minutes, and then that changed and ended. And
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like the day that was, they were like, we need to get people to make longer videos. They just rejigged the algorithm, and then that's why everyone saw it.
Bet you're probably right.
Like the last 4 times I've been on Twitter, how I've been like, I don't want to see any tweets from Elon Musk, and Twitter's like, here's some anyway.
I blocked him just to see what would happen.
He just a tweet at John Hastings. No.
What I get, it's so funny, is I get all of the news people I get in my like For You feed is people quoting him, but I just don't see his tweet, which is the funniest version of it, where they're like, you can't, what I'm trying to say is you can't hide from him on that fucking platform.
Oh no, you can't. No, I do not want to see tweets by Elon Musk anymore multiple times, and he just Elon powered through. Good for him.
I gotta tell you, money well spent, pal.
This is what probably the most fun part of the story is Luis Moreno Ocampo, who was one of the people who wanted Kony brought to justice in the video. He would have been the guy prosecuting Kony for war crimes on behalf of the UN. It was revealed afterwards he had some emails leak years later, and it was revealed that he had some plans to catch Kony, one of which was he was getting celebrities involved. He wanted Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie to invite Joseph Kony to dinner, which I'm sure he would show up to in a full tuxedo with no children at all. Like if Joseph Kony showed up to dinner, I assume he would think like that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie wanted to like have their own child army, and he'd be like, oh, he'd be like selling them off to them. But
you're so right.
And then they would come out of the bushes and get Joseph Kony, and there would be no problem.
the whole saga with the fucking imaginary children fuck faces is this. They are they are the worst type of millennial do-gooder in that they have no skill and so much ability.
Yeah,
What
they
a
heard the
fucking
gist of something and then they were like, let's fucking
like I heard from a guy that toothpicks are illegal. We gotta outlaw toothpicks. And you're like, what the fuck? Don't fucking criticize me. I'm not criticizing. It's just your premise is faulty. You're always so negative. This is the thing with like it's just like we've gotten perspective on it. We were really irritating for a couple of years there. We got shit done though.
Still are, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Guess what? 2012. You didn't have you were in a political situation where everyone of every ideology thinks the other side is fascists. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Luis Moreno Ocampo, who I was just talking about, his first plan was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, fake dinner, catch Joseph Kony.
Oh, it's
His
the
second
best.
plan
Go ahead.
was, what was his second plan, John?
Take off his shirt. On that shirt is a tattoo that says Joseph Kony is a phony. Joseph Kony comes out of hiding to correct the tattoo, and then they drop a large comedic cargo net on him, and then he's captured and then taken aboard Jason Russell's sort of Zeppelin-like pirate ship, and then they float over Africa, and then he has to walk the plank.
So that is close. He was going to get George Clooney's spy satellite, and he's used it to spy on Joseph Kony. And then another one was he just invited Sean Penn to
sidebar
the UN conference. Go for it.
That piece of information was then used by Alex Jones on his show in subsequent times of George Clooney has a spy satellite, I believe. That was then, as mentioned in the Kony 2012 thing. I think that may be true. If not, I'm alleging that. If that's not true, I am lying about that to mock Alex Jones.
Well, it was also, I think George Clooney was like, yo, man, this isn't that. I can't spy on the whole world, you fucking idiot. And then Sean Penn was invited to a UN conference, obviously, because he has hit kids and he wanted perspective on. Luis wanted perspective of what it's like to hit a kid.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, listen, we got to stop.
Power.
We got to stop Joseph Kony from putting these kids in an army. But I want to know what it's like to hit a kid. Get me Sean Penn."
Obviously, Sean Penn. I don't know if he hit kids. He just hit Madonna.
I do. Yeah. He hung her outside of a second-story window by her neck. So I'm going to go out on a limb that probably some kid by her neck. The material girl, Jason Russell, the Sean Penn of True Society, the man who hung Uganda outside the window by his
by their neck. Didn't care if they fell.
Didn't give a fuck if they fell, as long as he had his $8 million of film money.
What's
anyway,
he doing now? Charity still.
Yeah, of course. Charity. He's still working.
He moved on to another charity.
He's working within the same grift network he was always going to work within, because he's a fucking grifter and this is how he does it. But 10 days after Kony 2012 goes viral, he's seeing a movie with his kids and freaks the fuck out via the attention. He's getting fucking demolished on the internet. Like, this was one of the true great beginnings of mob rule.
But then everything, like, truly like the internet, where everyone was like, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. Do we want to follow through and actually do anything? Nah,
we did it. We did it. He was slightly embarrassed, and we haven't asked where the money was. Job done. This is the exact problem with millennial. And we are the greatest chapter 1 generation ever. Every idea at the very beginning we have is fucking great. We need to get this warlord who has a bunch of child soldiers. What's your solution? I get $8 million to make a film. Does any of that money go to capturing Joseph Kony? You've been told about him. That's what I agreed to. I'm a filmmaker. I thought you were raising money for a charity. Where's my $8 million? Like, everything comes back to that. Oh, it's a way to connect each other using our faces in a book, and also a way to Matt, like, you know what I mean? Everything just becomes fucking evil so quickly with the internet. I fucking hate it. But
they made $26.5 million for awareness. After the criticism, more of the money did go to, but
more of the action packs. How many action packs were sent to Uganda?
There
Did
was
they
two
get
action
one?
packs that had a Ferrari in it.
Did they get? Yeah, yeah. They actually have updated. The action packs are now an NFT available at
Oh, yeah, baby.
www.gofuckyourself .com.co.uk.
So that is it.
How many
That's
action
Kony
packs?
2012. And do you have any main takeaways from Kony 2012 other than like what you said
Set
around
the
like it being like
set.
the ultimate millennial grift? And
It's the ultimate millennial grift, and this is something that I just want to explore for a moment. It set the stage for how the internet attacks people. They're gonna fucking bombard you on all social media. They're gonna dox you. They're gonna go like, you know what I mean? Like it was by the fucking book. Whoopango. And then he ended up freaking out on the street, allegedly, possibly trying to jack off. That has never been established. But supposedly what happened is he left that movie theater, freaked out on the street in San Diego. Great city to freak out in, by the way. Wide sidewalks. That's always what you want for a place where you're freaking out. Not the narrow sidewalks of Manhattan, the wide boulevards of San Diego. So you can go back and forth while you attempt to jack the stress of your $26 million grift out of your tiny Christian con man penis.
that's crazy though. March 5th, this guy is just a guy who's, you're in a Christian charity, raising awareness, doing the Lord's work, and then 11 days later, you're famous and already everyone hates you and you're beating off in the street.
Yeah, and still all those other things. That's the weird thing about internet justice, is it's always like they're taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no actual, like, obviously everything he's doing is legal though, because this is just people not looking at
This
the
is the other thing.
margins. You just
Yeah.
don't look at the margins. That was, I used to canvas for charities and some people would just be like, what are your admin costs? And we tell them the admin costs, but that wasn't in our like initial spiel, was like, here's how much admins cost, unless that was one of the things the charity was touting, was like, listen, 10% of our costs go to administration. Some people have super fucking high admin costs. You can just look into that shit.
Absolutely. But it's all very available. Like because isn't there two breast cancer charities, and one of them is like that goes to help breast cancer, and the other one is like that's a man named Jim, and he's got a real nice car.
Oh, dude. I mean, we do stand-up comedy. You've seen the fucking
Oh my God.
I'll
Well, there
sell
was a
my shirts
comedian-
for 40 at the fundraiser, and it's like half goes to the charity. Also, regularly, I sell my shirts for 20 anyway. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, but like there was there's one comedian supposedly in Canada that would just say that like, oh, like the fee for this is, and it'll go to cancer research if you want to donate, and he just would like donate 10% to cancer research. I almost said the person's name, but then I was like, oh, I'm alleging essentially
John
fraud. So
Hastings.
it was Dylan Gott.
so that's my grift.
Yeah,
Dylan loves
listen,
cancer. Mine goes 2 cigarettes, and I like when someone's just having a bad day, I walk around with a pack of cigarettes. And I'm like, you want a cigarette? You could use one. So I'm trying to like thin out the herd a bit.
I would fucking sponsor that charity. That's a great charity. Do you know how helpful that would be to
Getting
so
people
many
to smoke again?
Not getting people to smoke, but just walking up with one. Hey, you look like you could use one cigarette. Do you know how many people that could use one cigarette?
I want to be your tipping point.
Yeah. Hey, make a decision. The decision is you smoke again.
Kony 2012, been talked about a bunch, especially since we're just past the 10-year mark, but what a great flash in the pan. And it also talks to how quickly things happen on the internet, because if you want to look at the example of another guy who was a huge fraud, Vanilla Ice, obviously on a lesser scale, he had a #1 hit for months before everyone was like, hey, he said he's in gangs. He's not in gangs. Like,
I didn't realize how much Vanilla Ice lied. I didn't realize that he was like, oh, I'm in gangs. Who saw that haircut and was like, this man's clearly been in some sort of covert criminal organization.
But that's like
on society. That's not on Vanilla Ice. That's on you.
22 years earlier, and it's like he would have, like, within the day, people would have known he was lying. He released that video.
Like Milli Vanilli, it took 2 years for Milli Vanilli. Milli Vanilli would have been 45 minutes. That song would have come out, and it would have been like, guess again, prick.
It's so, if things move so fast, it's like you can become a scammer, make $1 million, and get caught in like an afternoon now.
Oh yeah, it's a big problem for a lot of for a lot of podcast advertisements is a lot of those products are literally just like
Yeah.
just massive scams.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, please everyone buy Man Great. That's Man Great.
Yeah. If it has man in the title and most of it
Walk
is
the
just trying
fuck
to sell
away.
you being a man, probably don't
Yeah.
buy that.
Also, yeah, anything that is a weight loss cure or the next hydration system, hit the fucking bricks, bro.
Cum belcher, that's a pill you take where you nut and you burp afterwards. That's what we're selling. That's it.
Yeah. Cum belcher. It's just a fun thing to do. Bleh. Arr, arr.
Oh.
I can't believe that this is our Kony 2012 episode. Ladies and gentlemen,
I can.
I'm John Hastings.
I'm Dylan Gott. Next week we'll be talking about Rebecca Black's Friday, the fun Kony 2012.
Friday, wanna be there on Friday. I fucking love that song. We will be talking about the Opie and Anthony's recurring bit where they would just play it on Fridays, and I enjoyed that. And probably things about the song and Rebecca Black. Dylan, I'll see you there then.
Thank you so much. Until next week, please rate and subscribe while rating and subscribing and review it too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.